Surprise! It's Behind the Buzz, a Public Fit Theater Company's occasional podcast where we continue the conversation about the myriad processes that are involved in creating our season of plays and staged readings. This is a super secret, special, surprise, unplanned bonus episode with me, producing director Joe Kucan, and artistic director Ann-Marie Pereth.
Hi there.
And company manager Brandi Blackman has stepped out from behind the lighting booth to help us talk about what we have to look forward to in the season to come. But to start things off, I'm going to let Ann-Marie talk a little bit about why this upcoming season is particularly special. It has to do with a number.
Well, it's our 10th.
It's our 10th
anniversary.
Our 10th season.
And
can you believe it? That seems.
Is that paper? Are we in our? Is that our paper?
I don't know.
I think that might be number one. I don't know.
I don't know what the
What is
10th
your
anniversary.
10th anniversary.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh,
Listeners,
in terms
comment. Tell us what the 10th
yeah,
anniversary is.
I don't know what it is, but paper would be suitable, because of the scripts. But I think about the number 10 a lot, and it seems like it was just number 1.
Yeah.
Just like seconds ago. I
Yeah.
think it's because we've been working so hard for the last 10 years.
It seems to be unending, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm very excited about this year's season. I think we've learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I think we're getting better at picking seasons. In fact, I took a lot of great care in picking the season because it was our 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Usually I have the season picked at around February or March,
Yeah.
but the staff was really getting on my case because I hadn't picked a season because I just kept reading plays. We kept having play readings at the house because I just didn't find the right combination of plays until very, very late, like May, June.
And there was we had a lot of conversations in staff meetings, and I think, Brandi, you might even be on this side of the aisle, of people that wanted something particularly focused about the 10th season, that we were going to do only plays that started with the number 10 in them, or 10 Little Indians, nothing but Agatha Christie
plays. It was
plays.
the letter Q. I wanted the letter Q.
That's a whole other subject. Good Lord, you're opening us up to controversy.
I think that the 10th anniversary, a big mark like that, a benchmark, it does deserve special consideration.
Yeah.
But I think we put a lot of care into every season's lineup, so it just had to land where we wanted it to land theme-wise.
Right.
So it couldn't just be like, oh, these 7 titles happen to line up a certain way. We had to say, no, this is what we want to line up. This is how we want it to line up, and find the titles that would then fit those slots.
And just as storytellers, we are attracted to certain types of plays.
That is true.
And we like there to be a lot of artistry in the way we express a story.
And theatricality. Just simple theatricality.
Yeah, the theatricality of telling story. Yeah. But as the years have passed, I have found that the stories that I like most are the ones that move me emotionally and are not as intellectually driven as a combination of emotional and intellect combined. Like I need to have both of those components for me to be really impressed by a story.
Hi. This is Tina Rice, a founding member of a Public Fit Theater Company. I've worked with Ann-Marie and Joe since the beginning, and I think I tie Timothy Cummings for having acted in the most APF main stage productions. I have been extremely fortunate to have performed in some amazing shows, to have formed some lifelong friendships, and to have engaged with audiences to deliver what I consider some of the best theater experiences in Las Vegas, mostly due to the hard work and dedication of Ann-Marie and Joe. Ann-Marie and Joe have devoted so much of themselves in order to create thoughtful, creative, and exceptional work that has been responsible for shaping and changing theater in our community. Theater provides connection through a shared experience, and it can influence our way of thinking. It can be informative, entertaining, therapeutic, social, cultural, religious, or political. Thanks to Ann-Marie and Joe, APF has created work that allowed audiences to experience all of this. Thank you, Ann-Marie and Joe, for providing me with wonderful memories that I could not have had without you. Happy anniversary to APF, and here's to 10 more years.
The first show of our season is a stage reading of The Lifespan of a Fact by Jeremy Carrican and David Morrell and Gordon Farrell. Gigi Gizzado's directing that. Would you say that that's a story that's it sounds like something that you were talking about. It sounds like that is a story that takes intellect and emotion and sort of...
Well, it's both. There's two factions in that play, and there's a fact checker who's very driven to make sure that he gets the facts correct in this particular essay, and then there's the journalist who wants to be truthful in telling his story, but what he finds to be truthful is not necessarily about fact. It's about finding the heart and the truth of the story.
Okay, before we get too far off in the weeds about who and what and where, let's just do a really quick summary of that play. Is that fair? So it's a 3-character play, 2 men and a woman. And Brandi, if you had to give a 10-second elevator pitch about what the play was about, how would you summarize The Lifespan of a Fact?
I would say that it highlights the difference between fact and truth and how they are not always the same thing.
Okay, that's its theme. What's it about?
It is about a young man who butts head with an old grouch and the woman who has to mediate their experience together.
Okay, well, I'm going to be a little bit more specific. We have
Bravo! I liked that.
No, I liked it too. I think
that was a good soundbite.
I agree. It's a great soundbite. We'll print it on the T-shirt. But I think to be even more specific, it is about a young editor, or a young fact checker, rather, who is hired by an editor to fact check over the course of a weekend. It wants to be done in 2 days. Over the course of a weekend, wants to fact check an article about a suicide in Las Vegas. And this is a play, actually, most of it is set in Las Vegas, about a suicide in Las Vegas.
And that's why I picked it.
That's part of why you picked it.
And I would correct you and say that it is not an article.
It's an essay, isn't
That's
it?
part of the... Isn't that one of the lines in the play?
It's part of the argument. Like, what's the difference, right?
You've all interrupted. Let me try it one more time. It is about a young fact checker who has been hired by an editor to fact check an essay that appears in a prestigious magazine that is facing some financial troubles. And it's meant to be done over the course of a weekend. He's meant to come in on a Saturday and a Sunday, read the article, check all the facts, and send it right to printing. And this fact checking this whole story is based on a true story. It took 7 years. It took 7 long years of these two writers sort of butting heads and determining what was really the nature of truth. It's a remarkable play. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what I like about it, it's concise too. It's not meandering. The play is not meandering at all. It's concise. It's to the point. The play is going to take maybe 75 minutes to tell that story, and that's a difficult task to do.
Sure.
Is to tell a story in 75 minutes.
Betsy Norton here. I'm an actor originally from Indianapolis, and auditioning for APF was one of the best decisions I've made here in Las Vegas. I'm so grateful to know Ann-Marie and Joe, and so thankful for the work that they're doing and putting out for the Las Vegas community. Congratulations, and cheers to another great year.
You've got Gigi Gizzado directing. Did you assign her that play for any particular reason? Was that...
Yeah, actually I did. She did such a wonderful job on Lydia, and also she is a translator, and she cares a lot about words. She has taken it upon herself to translate her family's plays and other pieces of literature from Spanish to English. And I think vice versa. She works with a group out of London, and so this is a wonderful director, actress, writer, playwright who cares about words. And those are our dogs in the background. Just in case you guys were wondering, they're having a great time, and they don't care about this podcast.
No,
we thought they were going to behave.
I thought so too. No, they are completely disinterested in the solemnity of the podcast.
This is Norm Kresge. I answered the summons from the Tinker 10 years ago. Since then, A Public Fit has brought me plays that make me think, make me happy, and make me sad. Here's to the next 10 years.
That's great. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to turn to Brandi, because you know me, you guys just tell me what day to show up and point me in the general direction, and I'm there. I have no idea when this play goes up. When can we expect to see the lifespan of Effect? And this is our first opening show. Will be out at the Las Vegas Library and a stage reading, and it will be presented on
the evening of September 29th, and the afternoon of September 30th.
That's right. We're doing two performances of the readings. Again, all this season, every reading gets 2 performances this time, yeah?
Yes.
And we're back and trying to see if we can't excel again in how we present our stage readings. We had so many people last season just come up and say to me personally, "You're sure this is a stage reading? This really felt like a fully realized production." What's the difference?
Our staged readings, our designers get to hint at what they might see if it were fully bloomed and realized.
Yeah.
So if and a great example would be when we did August Osage County many years ago as a staged reading. That play requires a 3-story house. That house is basically a character in that. How do you build a 3-story house with no budget? How do you imply a 3-story house with little to no budget? So this is a place where our designers get to dream big and then think outside the box about how they can imply what those ideas are for our audiences.
Happy 10th anniversary, APF. This is Diane Walton, your Associate Production Manager, and I'd like to congratulate you on being a company that not only talks the talk, but walks the walk. The passion and the drive the company has for sharing stories in the community is obvious through your free staged readings, and coincidentally, I've been fortunate enough to design 6 sets for APF over the past few seasons, and along with the 4 readings this season, it'll bring my total to our anniversary number 10. I honestly can't express my gratitude enough to Ann-Marie and Joe for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to not only be creative, but experiment and learn. I'm so excited for our upcoming season, and I wish APF an amazing 10th year.
And where that idea came, how that blossomed, is actually when we went to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And not that I am not Van Gogh.
None of us are, Anne-Marie.
No,
none of us are.
I'm not implying that. But what I was very impressed with looking at his works, because he would do sketches on pieces of wood, on cardboard, anything he could find because he was so poor. And he would sketch out his ideas, and those sketches would lead to his masterpieces. And I think that all different types of artists, whether they're dancers or visual artists or theater makers, right, storytellers, we have to have that same process as well. It's a lot of pressure to fully produce a show with a larger budget, and it's really nice as a director and as a designer to have a space where you can explore.
You're talking about the reading specifically, the chance to really take risks. And
I mean, we're directing a reading this year, and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's a particular, we'll talk about that in a few moments, but it's, that's a particular, it could be a particularly weird one.
Hello, my name is Constance Tashner. I'm originally from Cape Creek, Arizona, and I moved up to Las Vegas 2 years ago. A public fit, to me, is wonderful and inspiring. They are the first theater outside of school to given me an opportunity to work professionally as a sound designer, and amazing, and I love every moment of it. I just love the scripts. They're always different, and there's new challenges that comes with each one for my designing. I love the people I work with, directors, designers, the actors. I love the community that they have built, and I love everyone a part of it. And I just want to keep growing, and they're helping me grow and seeing new things, and I just love it. So congratulations on 10 seasons, and I can't wait to work with you guys more in the future. Thank you.
So that's our first reading, the lifespan of Effect. We're going to open up our main stage season, and just a reminder to everyone, we're back at Super Summer Theater Studios for these first 2 shows. We're doing Indecent by Paula Vogel. Anne-Marie, you and I are directing that, and I don't know about you, I'm scared shitless.
I'm less scared, but I have
Oh, thank
spent...
God. Somebody has to be. My God.
I've spent the last month really digging into the play. And the reason why I think...
Well, you said to me the other day that this is the most prepared. I mean, we haven't had our first rehearsal yet. We've had auditions. We've had a lot of design meetings. But you told me the other night this is the most prepared you've ever been at this point in our process.
You know why I think that's the case is because we had to hire different people. There's so many different moving parts to this play. I had to hire a musical director.
Yeah.
I had to hire a choreographer. Then we had to hire all of the designers. So when you have to start hiring people, you have to start looking into their worlds in order to understand what it is that you're asking them to do.
And to point them in a direction.
Yes.
So wait, so you're telling me that Indecent is a musical?
No. There is singing. There is dancing.
Yes, but not a musical. Singing, dancing, but not a musical.
No, it's a play with music. And how I think the music supports the story is it helps us to understand the Jewish culture that's deeply embedded in the story. It also helps us to understand the time period because there was a lot of vaudeville during that time period. So I think the style of dancing will hint to that.
You want to tell me what time period?
Yes. Well, actually, the play is based on another play called God of Vengeance, which was actually written in, I think, 1906. And from there, that play toured all around many parts of Europe. And then it decided to make its debut in 1922 down in Greenwich Village. And the producers of that play, Sholem Asch and the team, wanted to take it to Broadway. And then in 1923, the play was shut down because at the very end of the play, and this is not a spoiler alert because this is not a spoiler because it's mentioned in the very beginning of the play, there is a romantic kiss that happens between two women in the rain. And so the play takes place in that time period, and then it moves through the 30s and 40s and ends in the 1950s. So it covers a large span of time.
This is another play based on actual events, much like Life Said with Fact. This one is also sort of based on actual events.
And it's complicated because of the music and the dancing and the play within the play and the multiple characters that are introduced into the story to be able to track all of that information. So I think because of the complexity of the story, that's what created a lot of fear between you and I.
Mazel tov on your 10-year celebration, Anne-Marie. We love each and every production at A Public Fit. Your dedication, your passion, and creativity is evident in every play. We appreciate the effort and love that goes into making A Public Fit a success story. And we know that every time we attend, we'll learn and grow from the experience. Thank you, Anne-Marie and Joe, and we look forward to the coming year ahead. Love, Lori and Kenny.
There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of scheduling, scheduling to be done.
About it.
Yeah, well, Brandi, that's your forte. You are the scheduler par excellence. Have you finished?
Anne-Marie actually helped me with this time, and it made it a little easier because then I was more sure about exactly what she needed covered during, early stages of rehearsals. But we have currently, we think, successfully scheduled out 3 weeks worth of rehearsal. So we'll see where that gets us.
Okay, with time for dancing rehearsals and singing rehearsals.
They're going to be singing. They're going to be dancing. They're going to be reading from the script. Yep.
Can I say why it's so complicated? And this will help our listeners who don't live in Las Vegas. While A Public Fit works very hard to pay all of its artists, and we label ourselves as a professional theater company, we don't live in a theatrical city. So all of the artists who work for us have to make a living doing something else.
Sure.
So they have to work at other jobs. And so unlike if you lived in New York City or maybe Chicago and you have an equity contract, you can work at that contract and act for 8 hours a day. That is not the case in our city. So we try very hard to be very respectful of people's schedules.
This is Timothy Cummings, and I have been with the Public Fit Theater since their first production of Foxfinder in 2014. I've always admired their courage, their tenacity, their sheer stubbornness, and their ability to tell amazing stories. And I look forward to 10 more years and 1,000 more shows beyond.
Well, we've been at this for 10 years now, because this is our 10th season, and I don't know that we've ever, in all of this, we've paid everybody, but in this 10 years, I don't know that we've ever paid anybody what they're actually worth, because that is a near impossibility in the arts world these days. And I just read about another theater closing the other day. Portland, I think, artist rep has canceled their season, so it's becoming a bit of a...
Well, theater's expensive. I mean, you have to pay the scenic designer, the lighting designer, costume designer. You have to pay the sound designer. There are props. There are set pieces. You have to pay the director. You have to pay the choreographer. You have to pay the musical director.
And the actors.
The actors. You have to pay the stage manager, the assistant stage manager. You have to pay the deck crew. I mean, it is... and I haven't even mentioned everything.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the schedule.
We have musicians on the stage.
We have musicians on stage for this
graphic designer, box office.
I'm looking at this budget, and I can say with full confidence that this is our most expensive play to date.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it edged out August Osage County.
Right? We managed to do it.
But it did.
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
I think it was props that put us over the edge.
Probably. It's gonna be that one suitcase.
So do you want it? So Indecent by Paula Vogel. That's our second show. What are the dates on that one, Brandi?
That opens on October 27th. And it closes November 20th.
Is that 4 weeks?
It is a 4-week run that will include 3 Monday night industry nights.
Right, we're back to industry nights, and I think, and I wish I had Kirk and Michelle. Kirk is the president of our board, and his wife, they produce our Outburst series. I think we're going to have an Outburst for that one as well.
They
so
have
those of you who love
expressed interest
storytelling.
in that, and we're hoping that it carries through, and our tentative date on that is right now November 8th.
Right.
Night of Storytelling.
Well, and I'll put this pitch out here now. If anyone has been to the Outbursts and has seen our storytelling events and wants to get up on stage and has a story to tell, write us at behindthebuzz@apublicfit.org and just let me know that you're interested in being one of our storytellers. I'll pass your information along to the producers, and we'll see if we can't get you up there to tell your tales.
Hi, this is Lisa Lynn Chapman, Associate Producing Director. In the 7 years I've been with a Public Fit Theater company, I can say the deep and lasting relationships that I have developed over the years, as well as the opportunity to bring beautiful and quality theater to our community, has been the greatest gifts, and I am grateful for APF for giving them to me.
So that's Indecent. Then we're back to the library again with our next reading. We finally get to do Pipeline by Dominique Morisseau.
Yes, I'm so excited we got the rights.
Brandi, what's Pipeline about?
Pipeline is
you've now just been labeled the 10.
Yeah, I am now the summarizer.
Yes, you're the summarizer.
Okay.
Anne-Marie hates it when I do that to her. She's so happy that you do it.
Pipeline is about a young man who gets in trouble at his private school, and his mother is unhappy with him. And so they have to find a resolution on how to deal with his misbehavior.
I like it. And what is it that's so compelling about that play, Anne-Marie, that we've been just chomping at the bit to finally be able to do it? What is it that compels you about Pipeline?
Well, I love the writing.
Yeah.
The way Dominique Morisseau uses language is beautiful, and it's a story, a tale, a cautionary tale that keeps being told over and over and over again about that pipeline of the black man in a high school setting. And if he's not taken care of, and he doesn't have people to support him and love him and care for him, that being family members and the education system, right, and society and all of us as citizens, a wonderful human being like himself, Omari, could find himself in the prison system. And that's why I think it's a powerful story.
Dear Anne-Marie and Joe, this is Bill Ray. I've been a longtime fan and supporter of APF, and it is a pleasure to have this opportunity to briefly comment. Your work and the work and efforts of the wonderful actors and staff you have brought together over the years have been amazing. It has been such a delight to have been able to attend your many productions. I look forward to much more great work by you and everyone in the future. Thanks for what you do. My very best regards, Bill.
So you used the word pipeline in your description. What the pipeline from what to where?
Well, in the case of this story, it's the pipeline from high school to prison.
Right.
The education system to prison. But I think you can use that metaphor from from family life to prison, and it's not that it's the fault of any parent, absolutely not. But we have to care for certain individuals in our society, and this is about particularly about a mother who is a school teacher who cares fiercely for her son, and she loves him and she worries for him and she wants the best education for him. And so they put him in a private school, and unfortunately one of his teachers makes him the token black student, and because of what's happening in his personal life, he becomes upset with his teacher, and they have a scuffle. They have an argument, and it's not clear what happens between the two of them because we don't see that. It's just talked about in the play. But he gets expelled from school for pushing his teacher. And so therefore, the mother is doing everything in her power to find her son because he's taken off. And to protect him and to get him back into the education system so that he can succeed and be a viable citizen.
You talked about the writing in this play. There's a lot of poetry in it, and really active poetry. We're bringing in Jason Nias to direct this. Jason had tremendous success with August Wilson's The Piano Lesson, and also great success with the reading last season. He did Skeleton. Season before last. That's right. I'm sorry, not last season. 2 seasons ago, Skeleton Crew. He brought in this dynamic movement, creating the feeling of an automotive plant through sound and physicality. Do you think he's going to bring some of those same techniques to this reading?
I think he could do that in the transitions between scene to scene if he chose to. I think what a particular production did in New York was they generated actually like B-roll of kids in high school, and they had projections, and that was quite effective. I'm not quite sure what Jason will do with it. Jason's a very creative person with a lot of heart, and he possesses a lot of skills. He's a gymnast, he's a dancer, he's an actor, he's a director, he's a clown. He has a lot of different skills, and he can draw from a lot of different places within himself in order to tell a story. So I'm curious to see what he does with it.
Well, it's like you say, the readings offer an opportunity for a lot of risk and challenge. It sounds like Pipeline offers all that stuff just by itself. Brandi, you want to tell us the dates for Pipeline back out at the college, at the library?
The library.
Yeah.
Again at Clark County Library. Pipeline, you can see that on the evening of January 26th or in the afternoon on January 27th.
Working with APF is such a gift because when you're working with them, nothing stays on the surface. You dig and you dig and you dig and you find all these treasures and uncover all these puzzle pieces, and then you put them together. It's just such an amazing feeling when you're working with people who are as passionate about theater as you are. It's like opening a treasure chest.
So then we're back. We're back at the Super Summer Theater Studios with a play by Alistair McDowell. One letter title of this play is called X, being directed by Jake Staley. And he, Jake, they went out of their way. Jake really went out of his way to bring us this play and had a really strong interest in directing it. Did you take a lot of convincing, Ann-Marie, to put it into the season?
No, Jake came over to the house and we read the play, and I loved the play, and there were many things I loved about that whole experience when we read it at the house.
Yeah.
First of all, how much Jake loved the play, how I was on the edge of my seat wondering how this play that is about climate change and that is set on Pluto and has a space station and they wear spacesuits.
I'm sorry, I misheard. I thought you said, and this is just, Not paying attention. I thought you said it was set on Pluto.
Yeah, it is set on Pluto.
Oh, good Lord.
The play is set on Pluto. But that's
So
what
it
I
is
like. That's what I like about
So
Alex.
it is a sci-fi play.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi play. And that's what I like about Alistair McDowell is he takes subjects that people don't typically write about for the theater, and he puts those subjects on stage. The last play that we did, Brilliant Adventure, it had a time machine that was made out of a cardboard box, and I think that's fascinating. And now here we are doing a play that's set on Pluto and in a space station. So that's really interesting. And also the world, in the world of the play, Earth is falling apart.
Yeah.
And I think we need to listen to stories about that because that's pretty relevant right now.
Hey, this is Jake Staley, Associate Artistic Director at A Public Fit. What I particularly love about working here is Ann-Marie and Joe continuously carve out a protected rehearsal process I believe is vital to freely explore and express creativity and inspirations. In any profession, artistic endeavor, or creative process, if the individual doesn't feel completely safe to try new things without fear of someone taking a swipe at their neck, metaphorically speaking, then that individual is in a hostile environment that stifles any genuine creative ingenuity. I think Vegas in general does a good job of creating these safe environments already, but Joe and Ann-Marie and the entire APF creative team, Brandi, David, Lisa, I will stop naming people, but everyone really has a strong awareness of this principle. It's the one standard I think is absolutely essential, and APF has done an impeccable job of upholding that standard. I'm extremely excited to be directing X by Alistair McDowell this season. It's a psychological thriller with Joe's favorite sci-fi elements. We're still unfolding the goods within the script, but we're geared up to pair a stellar cast with some over-the-top technical elements produced by our fabulous designers. I don't think I've ever looked forward to a show more in my life, so we're hoping to see you all there to join in that production come February 9th this season.
I remember during the reading here at the house, and I'm curious about this too, the reading at the house, and looking at the actual physical script of the play, there are 4 pages where a line is simply the letter X repeated over and over and over again. And I'm really curious as to not just the playwright's intent for that, but how that's going to be interpreted by the team.
Yeah, I'm so glad I don't have to do
right?
that.
Right?
But Jake seems pretty confident about it, so
we'll
let him solve that problem.
We've had conversations. He's had some great ideas, and it's really clearly a play that has burrowed its way into his brain. He's doing a lot of thinking about it. He's thinking about this about as much as you've been thinking about Indecent, I think.
I think if Jake didn't get to direct X, I think that he would have exploded.
Brandi Emery says the play's about climate change. I don't know if it's about climate change. It's well, you said it was about climate change.
One of the themes.
Okay, what tell you want to do your summary of X for us? Brandi, you're batting 1,000 so far on the summaries of plays.
I'm going to veer a little on this one.
Okay.
Because my personal summary of this play is it made me angry, but not for the reason that somebody might think.
Oh my. Okay, that's your summary.
But that's a good thing. And it took me a while to realize that when we did the table read, because when the play ended, I was really angry because I thought I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, you got fooled for
once.
And
I didn't. And there was a small part of me that was like, we can't do this play. It made me mad. We can't do this play. And then the other larger part of me said, that's exactly why we should do this play.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is because it generated such a strong reaction. A compelling play doesn't have to make you happy. It doesn't have to be something you agree with. It just has to generate an emotional response. It has to make me want to talk about it. And I wanted to talk about it.
You know, it's funny you say that, and I'm going to admit the same thing. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see the arc of the play going in the direction that it went in. And I think, like you, I'm usually pretty good about sussing those things out and having a good idea of where a play is.
I usually know who's
going to
die at the beginning of the horror movies.
Right? Yeah.
I didn't see this one coming.
Yeah, okay. So that's actually, you want to give, let me, so my quick summary, as long as we're summarizing plays. It's about a research team on Pluto that finds themselves disconnected from Earth. They're no longer receiving transmissions from Earth. So over the course of months and then perhaps years, they realize that they may have been abandoned and that there may be no rescue coming. And the way that affects their psyche and their stories is the meat of the play. What are the dates on this one, Brandi?
You can see Alistair McDowell's X from February 9th to March 4th.
Is that a 4-week run?
It is a 4-week run that includes the 3 Monday industry nights as well.
Monday industry nights and another Wednesday outburst, I think, during that one, if we can get
I hope
Kirk online. I hope so too. And
Outbursts
I'll
are
make
always
another
a lot of
pitch.
fun.
Storytellers out there, get us your info. We'd love to get you up on stage.
Hello, this is Andrew Calvert, actor and proud company member. So I just wanted to get involved after I'd seen When the Rain Stops Falling back in 2016. I really appreciated the quality, the care and the specificity that went into the work. And after sneaking into some rehearsals throughout the rest of that season and of course auditioning, I was lucky enough to get cast in my first show, Wit, where I actually met my future best friend and later partner. And yeah, I've been gifted over and over again with incredible roles, and I'm just so grateful for those opportunities and so proud of the work that we've produced with some of the best talent in Las Vegas and beyond. So yeah, I can honestly say that APF has been quite life-changing, and I don't even know if I'd still be in Vegas if it weren't for that. But I'm excited to see what they'll do next. They continue season after season to provide opportunities for even more actors, directors, designers, and most importantly, our audience. We've got quite the season planned, as I'm sure you've heard, and like so many before it, it's like no other. This company continues to push the boundaries of what this collective can do. So congratulations again, and thank you for doing what you do. I know it's such hard work running a theatre company, but it makes me very, very happy that you do, because I think it's awesome.
Fantastic. We're back at the library with our next reading, and we have a returning champ. Well, I guess I'm looking at the playwrights, and Dominic Morisseau we've done before, Alistair McDowell we've done before. Here's another playwright that we have done before, the ridiculously popular Lauren Gunderson. We will be staging a reading of Exit, Pursued by a Bear.
We've hired the bear.
It's a lie.
It was one of those hard, difficult things that we had to do,
That's a
but
lie.
we have hired the bear.
Complete lie. No bear. There's no bear in this play.
Bear suit.
No, that's a lie. There's no bear suit in this play. You guys
Exit
are-
Pursued by a Bear. There's a bear.
Lies.
Is there a bear?
So many lies. There's a lot of new in this play. I think there's a lot of new in this reading for us. The least of which is the play itself. This is an unabashed comedy, and I don't know, looking back at our 10 years, if we can say that we have done an unabashed comedy before. Is that fair?
Yeah, but it still has some messaging.
Oh, of course it does.
It's about domestic abuse.
Sure, yeah.
So if you don't attack the style of this play in the proper way, right, and you make everything really heavy and serious and psychological, you're going to kill the comedy out of it, and you're going to see the domestic story.
Sure. And what she bills it. How does Lauren Gunderson bill this play? She calls it a dark feminist revenge comedy. Is that
That might
right?
be. I remember at when we announced the season at our final reading back in June of last season.
Right.
We coined it a dangerous comedy.
A dangerous comedy. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. You want to summarize it, Brandini?
Exit Pursued by a Bear is about a wife who has had it up to here with her husband, and so she enlists the help of her new friend Sweetheart, also known as Peaches, and her best friend Simon to teach the degenerate husband a lesson.
I would add one adjective to that. She's sick of her abusive husband.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it becomes kind of a trial, isn't it? There's a sense of did he, didn't he? Is she overreacting? Is she a little loopy?
And he's also the husband. The abusive husband is given an opportunity to try and win his wife back. But he's very manipulative, and she sees right through the manipulation.
It's hysterical.
I love it.
I've never laughed so hard as in an audition as I did with auditions for this play. The actors were ridiculous. The other thing that was this brand new about this for us is we have a brand new director coming out of this one. Tracy Correa will be directing this reading. Anne-Marie, you want to tell us a little bit about Tracy?
Tracy is a international choreographer and director, and I worked with Tracy, I would say about 12 years ago out at Spring Mountain Ranch. She had come in to work on The Drowsy Chaperone as a choreographer and in support of the director. At the time, I was the assistant director, and she's a very talented woman. And also, she's a wonderful leader. I love being in the room with her. She has a wonderful sense of humor. She knows how to be clear and inspire people without being too heavy-handed. She's just a lot of fun, and she's also smart, and she knows how to lead people with a lot of grace with her great sense of humor.
Anne-Marie and Joe, this is Karen. I am so proud of, well, everything. I watched both of you grow up in the theater, and now this glorious theater organization you've created, the team you've assembled, and the remarkable, innovative storytelling you do. Bravo. And on a more personal note, thank you. When I was in a very dark place, you invited me into your world and entrusted me with a very complex and compelling character, surrounded me with the most wonderful, talented people, and consciously or unconsciously helped me get through that difficult time. Las Vegas is so lucky to have two people with such a commitment to community and the high artistic standards, and a place to go to experience high-quality, professional local theater. I'm not alone in looking forward to each of APF's upcoming productions.
What was it about this play and Tracy that synced up for you, Anne-Marie? Why give her this one?
She's done a lot of musicals, and some of the trappings of a musical is that you can take on the style of doing musical theater, and your characters cannot be they're not psychologically driven. You don't care about them because they're so focused on the style that they haven't found the heart of the character. And she really understands the balance between those two worlds. And in fact, after we read the play at the table, she talked about that if we swing too far over to one side in terms of storytelling and make it too campy, we're not going to care about these people. And she really wants to ground them and still find the humor. And
I saw that in auditions too. There were people that were just very funny, but they just weren't quite believable. They weren't. She was very careful about taking these characters and ensuring that they remained real people. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about is going to serve this play very well. Mm-hmm. Brandi, here we go. What are the dates for Exit Pursued by a Bear? And this is a stage reading. We're back at the library for this one.
We are back at the reading. You can see it the evening of March 29th or the afternoon of March 30th.
Right. And get your tickets early for that one.
They cost a lot of money.
Yeah,
a whole $0.
We're still free. We're still offering the readings for free. And then we're not back at Super Summer Theater Studios for our final main stage production. We're actually working in concert with Vegas Theater Company.
Yes. So we are back, but we're just not back. Again, we're back with Vegas Theater Company.
We're back with Vegas Theater Company out at the Art Square Theater with our final sort of main stage production.
Yeah, and I have to, do just a shout out to Vegas Theater Company and Daz Weller, the artistic director. Whenever we have found ourselves without a home, not once, not twice, but I think this is the third time.
Yeah,
he always says, "Yes, come over. I'll find space for you in our season."
And not just that, not just find space. He's already, he's made us part of his promo packages as well. He's in all of his publicity for his season. He's included.
Yeah, both Majestic Vegas Theater Company and A Public Fit. It's this Three Musketeers attitude, all for one and one for all. We're all really trying to support each other because we need to in order for theater to really survive in Las Vegas. We see theater being shut down in multiple cities. And I think actually we're in a special position here in Las Vegas, right? We're not so big that we're in danger of closing our doors, but in order for us to survive, we have to be supportive of each other and not be territorial. And that's what I see from Daz and from Troy.
Christopher Brown here, sending out a nod of gratitude to Ann-Marie and Joe for continuing to maintain APF as an artistic home within the Vegas community. I can remember sitting across from Ann-Marie 10 years ago with an obscure little play by the name of Foxfinder kicking this whole thing off, and look what it's become. So here's to another 10 years of APF offering collaboration to Vegas artists.
Well, we share, yes, we should. Troy Hurd over at Majestic. We share not just actors, not just audiences, but we share directors, and now we're sharing spaces as well. So we're back at Art Square with Brian Friel's Dancing at Lunasa. This is a seminal might not be the right word, but this is a very important play in the Irish canon. Right, when I was in school, it was sort of Sean O'Casey and then Brian Friel. Those were your Irish playwrights. This was
a modern classic.
Yeah, a modern classic. Good, I like that. Directed by Barbara Brennan, one of the doyens of Las Vegas theater. Finally, she's directing for us on the main stage. And just from watching her work at auditions, I think this is going to be a hell of a production. The cast that she's assembled and the company that she's put together, the thoughts that she's had for this play.
Barbara's
really...
Irish.
Is that true? Oh,
yep.
Brennan, of course she is.
Yes,
Barbara Brennan.
Barbara's
Sure
Irish,
she is.
and she, in auditions, she talked a lot about her brother and how the Irish tell stories. You know, sometimes they don't always tell the truth when they're telling a story. There's a little bit of the word isn't
Irish embellishment?
Yes, Irish embellishment. No, there's a playfulness in the storytelling, which means that they really stretch the truth. And so there's a way of telling story that is inherent to that culture, and she really understands that.
Yeah.
Also, Barbara's really good at telling family stories. She did Alabaster for us last year, and this is another family story that has a lot of heart to it. It's about, sisters, poor sisters in the 1930s.
Very, very poor.
Very poor. And in order to succeed as a female in the 1930s, you had to be pretty and you had to be married before you were 20 years old. And that's not going to happen for any of these women in this story. So it's about how they survive in this time period together. And it's a memory play, and so it reminds me a lot of Glass Menagerie in this way, because one of the sons of the sisters, Chris, she has a son named Michael, and he tells the story through his lens as an older man.
I adore Ann-Marie and Joe so much. I love working with them, and I'm so excited for the things we're going to be doing in the future and things we've done in the past. And I always think about Complete Female Stage Beauty. It was such an amazing show for so many reasons. It was just so much fun to work with. It was an amazing team, a wonderful group of people, and the story we were telling was also really amazing. And one of my favorite things was the fight choreography. Because we have this running joke that whenever we all work together, we have to beat me up. Essentially, we have to do some fight choreography because it's always so much fun and I love it. I am always about it. And the reason why I love it so much, not only is it fun, but it's with people that I trust with everything. I know that going in, it's going to be really fun, it's going to be really safe, and it's going to look really good. And so that's why I just always really enjoy doing that. And so now it's just like a big joke. Every time we just talk about how, let's get Nicole in here so we can do some fight choreography. But truth be told, I mean, I just adore them both so much, and it's been incredible to see all the wonderful things they're bringing together. I'm so glad I got to be part of the rehearsal process for An Oak Tree. It was so much fun. It was great to get to even though we were in a rehearsal space, I still got to be on stage essentially with Joe, and it was just really, really great. And I'm just so grateful for them and all the things that they're doing, and just having them as friends in my life is just amazing, and I just adore them.
This felt to me like I say, back in school, I was an undergrad when this play was sort of taking Broadway by storm, and there was a production at UNLV many years ago. And then I sort of noticed, in recent years, you start seeing the plays of Martin McDonagh and who's the other guy? I think even Alistair McDowell to some extent, of this sort of regional plays in McDonagh's case and in Friel's case, these Irish plays. It felt like that Lunasa really sort of laid the groundwork for this Irish storytelling to come. Am I wrong about that?
Well, Friel's known as the Irish Chekhov.
Yeah.
And I watched a documentary about Friel, which I found pretty interesting. When you think of Ireland, you think of it raining all the time, right? And you see that a lot in these Irish plays. There's a mood to them. But when Friel talked about Lunasa, he imagined the story taking place in the Mediterranean as if the sun is coming out. It's a moment in time and where these sisters, even though they bicker and they fight and they have these, bits of moments where they come up against each other, it's a beautiful moment in time that really shows their love for each other. And therefore, that is why he had this imagery of it being set in the Mediterranean. It is a magical moment. It's a magical memory in Michael's mind's eye.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think Barbara has picked a perfect cast and just a beautiful play. I'm truly looking forward to it. Brandi, when can we see this one?
We can see Dancing at Lunasa at Vegas Theater Company. We open on April 5th. And we close April 22nd. This is a limited run.
Yeah.
It is a limited 3-week run, so it will include 2 Monday night industry nights.
2 Monday nights. And I'm not sure about an outburst on this one yet. We need to...
It depends.
I have to ask Daz. He'll probably say yes. He's such a sweet man.
He might tell us a story.
That would be... He's done an outburst for us before.
Yes.
He was on stage for an outburst. Yeah, that'd be great.
His mother's Irish.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did she audition for the play?
I suspect she might live in Australia. That would be a bit of a commute.
That's fair. That's good point. Good point. We're closing out this season with our final reading of this season. Another returning playwright. I'm counting the returning playwrights. Craig Wright, who wrote Recent Tragic Events and introduced us to An Oak Tree. This play was introduced to us by one of last season's playwrights. Audrey Cephaly mentioned the impact that this play had on her. Craig Wright's The Pavilion. Anne-Marie, you and I are directing that reading. Do you remember the moment Audrey talked about it and we sort of perked up a little bit? Do you remember that?
Yeah, she said that she was in the audience of Pavilion, and she didn't use these words, but I'll interpret them. That basically she was like snot crying through the whole performance. She was just weeping and weeping and weeping because Craig Wright had done such a good job of crafting this story, and that she admired Craig Wright for his ability to put these ideas on the page and to be able to move people in such a way, and that she wanted to emulate his writing style in her works. And she did. There's a play that she sent us. The Last One More, I think it's called, that we're taking a serious look at, and I can see the influence that he's had on her.
Hi guys, this is Sarah, the Brit. So appreciate all your hard work. And I just love the look of amazement on people's faces when I tell them we have great, great theater in Vegas. Love you guys.
Brandi, what's The Pavilion about?
You're asking the wrong person, because this is the one that I've not had a chance to read
you're
the way
kidding.
through.
Holy cow.
No, I was not available for a table read. What I know
and we
of
had
it,
you in the lobby through all the auditions for this one.
All those poor souls. What is this about?
No.
This is about Pluto.
No,
And,
it's not. No, this
is about a high school reunion. This is about long lost loves at a high school reunion, and my impression is that and how the universe handles that.
Well, it is. Let me do this one. It's a 3-actor play. Can't say it's a 3-character play, but I can say it's a 3-actor play that takes place in Minnesota during a 20-year high school reunion. Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yes, indeed. And it is about lost love. It is about spending 20 years regretting a decision that may have cost you the love of your life. And 2 people who have come back to this high school reunion and see each other for the first time after years and years of regret and longing and all of that stuff. Now, it's a 3-actor play, so those 2 actors play the boy and girl who meet again. But then there's a narrator. Anne-Marie, you want to talk a little bit about the narrator? But let me just say before you do, one of the things that I really love about Craig Wright and respect about Craig Wright, we share this, I think, is his love for theatrical device. Yeah, he might say gimmick. I don't know. A gimmick is a tough. He likes theatrical devices, not just talking to the audience, but also I'll just remind audiences who saw our production of Recent Tragic Events. You know, in that play, a Craig Wright play, the stage manager comes out and flips a coin and says, depending upon how the coin lands, the play will go in a certain direction. He has a character in that play portrayed as a sock puppet. Now, I don't know if the pavilion is as broadly theatrical, but it does have some theatrical devices in it.
Oh, it's very theatrical because the narrator, first of all, we should include a little fun fact about Craig Wright is prior to him becoming a very serious playwright, he was studying to be, I think, a Jesuit priest. Maybe we should do some fact-checking about that. But I know he was very interested in religion. And then he pivoted. And so the way this play opens is actually with the narrator recreating the words of Genesis in the Bible, but doing it through the lens of, it's not that Craig Wright is rewriting the Bible, but the play starts off like in the beginning, the earth was created, and he moves us through time really quickly to Minnesota and to this family and to this high school reunion. But what's so interesting about the narrator is not only do they set the stage as to where we are in time and space and location, but this narrator also plays all of the people at the high school reunion. So there's a lot of hard switches and fast transitions of this narrator being a man and a woman and going back to a man and playing all of these different people that you would see at your high school reunion.
All of the people that aren't Peter and Kari, our protagonists.
Or Carrie. We haven't decided that. You've decided.
Calling me out on that, but okay.
Well, this is good. You know, we have to have that discussion.
Yeah, I had an actor who made a pretty good argument for Kari, just as a Midwestern Scandinavian
I like
name.
it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And maybe I'll be convinced the other way. It's spelled Kari. I think if it was Carrie, it would be spelled Carrie.
All of the Carries that spelled it Kari.
Yeah.
That I knew in high school in Michigan said Carrie.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Well, there's a lot of decisions to be made about this play.
My name is Marcus Weiss, and I've had the absolute pleasure and honor and joy of performing for A Public Fit with Anne-Marie and Joe on numerous occasions. And my journey with them has been a journey of the expansion of my heart and my inner light, which translates out into an enormous smile that you might not be able to see in this podcast, but I hope you can feel. I love you all. Thank you.
Well, once again, I love going back into the library because we can take a risk.
Yeah.
And really,
well, this is a risky play. Whoa, it's risky.
And we can really explore the play itself. But, you know, I'm a sucker for romance and unrequited love. And I remember there was a moment in the callbacks that we had last week where they were doing a section of the play where, is it Peter?
Mm-hmm.
Peter's pouring his heart out, trying to win back Carrie, and he's trying to, change the laws of how the universe operates. He's trying to tamper with physics. And even though I've read the play, I was like, Joe, we got to keep going. Maybe we got to see how this ends. Yeah. I was so moved by the performances in the callback situation because the writing was so good, the auditions, the acting was so good in that callback that I was moved to tears.
Yeah.
And
you can see why Audrey Sefley might have been snot crying through this one.
And I hope that we can do justice to this play because of how sincere and touching. It's not syrupy. It's really truthful. It's really truthful. And I think a lot of people go through situations where they don't end up with maybe the person that they should have ended up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited about this season?
I love this season. I love it so much. I'm so deeply invested in all of the directors, all of the actors who auditioned, all of the staff, the plays themselves. I'm working all the time at it, and it doesn't feel like work because I love the season so much.
10 years. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Would you like to know when you can see Pavilion?
Yes. When can we get me back on track, Brandi? When can we see the Pavilion?
You can see Pavilion at the Clark County Library in just under a year.
We have a lot of time to determine whether it's Carrie or Kari, I guess.
Put it on your calendars now, folks. Okay, on either the evening of June 28th or the afternoon of June 29th.
2 performances of that one as well. And we should, as long as we're shouting out to Vegas Theater Company, we should also shout out to Suzanne Scott and the Las Vegas Library District. The partnership that we forged with them has been really, really
love them.
Just valuable for us. So a big shout out to Suzanne Scott and everyone over at the Las Vegas Library.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it there for now. Keeping in mind that Behind the Buzz will be back with episodes for each and every one of the plays that we've talked about today. AM and I will be there, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to hear from some brand new artists as well as some old friends. I think I've got some favorites on the line. We've got a couple playwrights already waiting in the wings, and who knows, maybe even a surprise guest or two. I want to thank Brandi Blackman for joining us. It's fun to put a voice to the silent figure that runs the booth.
I know. If I'm doing my job right, you guys, you don't know I'm there. So
well, you're here now. But one last favor to you out there, though. Please take a moment to give us a quick review, and maybe not just here on the podcast. Yelp, Google, hell, even TripAdvisor. Anything helps, so that when people search for theater in Las Vegas, a Public Fit leaps to the top of the list. Or if you want to contact us directly, I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again, drop us an email to behindthebuzz@apublicfit.org. We really want you to feel involved in these conversations, because there's one thing you can say about art in Las Vegas. There is so much to talk about. Behind the Buzz is a product of a Public Fit Theater Company. It is directed by Ann-Marie Pereth and me, Joe Kucan, and is recorded, mixed, and edited by the Astrobogulus Diane Walton.
What does that word mean?
Look it up.